And for Off the Block, I'm Vane Lopes, we are now joined by UC Irvine coach David Kniffin after his team had a little bit of a rough season opener, losing to Lewis in 3 games. And Coach, I know you would have liked a different outcome to start your season, but how would you assess your team's performance tonight?
I think just a little tentative coming out of the gate tonight. We knew we were going to be up against a team that was traveling across the country with one goal in mind, which is to pick up a win in the non-conference match. And they stayed true to Lewis form, very aggressive, assertive volleyball, and I think we were just a little slow to respond.
Yeah, and talking about your team tonight, Tamir Herschko had 17 kills on the night to lead your team. Can you just talk a little bit about his play and how he's improved throughout the offseason and put up those type of numbers on this for the season opener?
Well, he's been good. There's no question. He's got some potential. He's got a great arm, and he's very competitive. He's been playing outside of the position. We've been training him in a little bit. We've had him on the left, but with Zach Lockeberry being out with an injury, he was able to step out for us and put up decent numbers on the right. I think in general we'd like him to be a little bit more aggressive coming out of the gate, despite a good style in there.
Yeah, and Coach, talking about wanting your team to be more aggressive, is that usually a trend for most teams kind of start of the year to maybe be a little bit tentative just because they haven't necessarily gotten all the game action that you would have in the middle of the season?
That's a hard question to answer. I think it varies program to program, personnel to personnel, but I know for us, we are an experienced team, but we are young. So I would say we're deceptively experienced because we have a lot of guys that are upperclassmen or guys that have had big moments or big roles on our team throughout the last couple of years. The guy like Tamir, who has had international experience yet, is really not a starter in this league yet, and hasn't really earned that title. So some jitters or some nerves are starting a little bit slow. I can understand, but certainly we aim to be more aggressive.
And looking at the other side of the net, Greg Petty tonight had 18 kills. What was he able to do that made it so difficult for you guys to block him?
He hit line when we didn't take his line, so that's a good warning for anyone that's playing them from here on out. Other than that, he's a good volleyball player. He's a good jumper with a great arm, and you've got 2 outsides on that team that have seen it all. They play a tough non-conference schedule every year, and they've got NCAA tournament experience, so you always expect big things from the left sides of those.
Yeah, and Coach, looking at your team moving forward, I know you mentioned Zach earlier in this interview being out with an injury. When is his stats? Is there a chance we could see him this weekend at the Outrigger Invitational?
I don't think so. I think Zach will be out for a bit, just to throw those cards on the table. So we're going to ride it out with this lineup and see how good we can get. Zach is obviously a big player for us, but I think the physicality that we have on the court, the experience that we have on the court, Zach wasn't the missing link tonight. Right. I think that responsibility lies on the other 7 guys that were there, maybe myself as a coach, and certainly Lewis playing some really good volleyball.
Yeah. Well, and Coach, you talk about wanting your young team gets more experience. They're going to get a great opportunity to do that this weekend at the Outrigger Invitational. I know it's UC Irvine's first chance in program history to go there. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
It is an absolute honor to play in the Outrigger tournament. I think there's some iconic competitions in men's volleyball, and the Outrigger, I believe, is the most iconic. They've just got the greatest fans, and it's just such an honor to be over there and play. So I'm looking forward to the experience and playing 3 really tough matches in a 4-day period. I'm looking forward to the overload to see how we respond with a really heavy week, because that's just what it'll look like at the end of the year. So that's where we hope to be, is playing 3 matches in a week, and we're overloading with 4 this week to